Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hey everybody, got a video here for everybody to watch from Ben Mysalis. Let's go to that and we'll talk about that on the other side.
Wow, this is Donald Trump and MAGA Mike Johnson's worst nightmare. A majority of Republicans in the House Oversight Subcommittee just turned against Donald Trump and MAGA Mike, and they are issuing a subpoena to the Department of Justice to turn over all of the Epstein files. Now, Donald Trump had his protectors in the House of Representatives ready to go. He has MAGA Mike Johnson, he's got MAGA Republican Clay Higgins and others, but they didn't expect this maneuver from the Democrats. The Democrats knew that based on the other Republicans in this House Oversight Subcommittee, that they actually had the votes and that they could win on at least an 8-2 vote to release the Epstein files from the Department of Justice by way of a subpoena. So you had Democratic Congresswoman Summer Lee, when nobody was expecting it at this House Subcommittee, she brings it up and she goes, all right, I'm taking a vote right now. We want to issue a subpoena to the Department of Justice to release the Epstein files. Now that put these MAGA Republicans in a bind because Democratic Congresswoman Lee knew the MAGA Republicans in that room had made statements saying that they would be in favor of releasing the files. So then you had this situation where MAGA Republican Congressmember Clay Higgins, who chairs this subcommittee, he tried to scuttle the vote. So he goes, we're in recess. He tried to figure it out. He was going to MAGA Mike. What do I do? What do I do? We're trying to protect Donald Trump, but there's enough MAGA Republicans in here who are going to turn against Donald Trump, and they're going to vote to subpoena the Department of Justice to turn over these Epstein files. What do we do? And I guess we got to go back in right now. So they went back in, and then there was a vote. And then you'll see when I show you this clip in a little bit that Clay Higgins, the MAGA Republican chair of the subcommittee, he lies. And even though it was clear that the aye votes beat the no votes, he's like, it looks like the noes have it. And then Democratic Congressmember Garcia is like, let's take a roll call vote. Let's actually count the people. And it turns out it was an 8-2 vote to subpoena the Department of Justice to turn over the files, exactly what Trump and MAGA Mike were trying to avoid. That's why MAGA Mike was pushing this into recess. So hat tip to Democratic Congressmember Garcia, who now is the ranking member of the Oversight Committee, and a special hat tip as well to Democratic Congresswoman Summer Lee. But they got the MAGA Republicans to turn against Trump. So first, let me show you how this was all lining up. So here you have, for example, MAGA Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. And she goes, look, I like Trump, but we got to release these files. Here's what she was saying leading up to this. Let's play the clip.
Really like President Trump. I also think he has a great pulse on things, but on this issue, the American people really want to see transparency. It's become one of those basically fractures that is too big to ignore.
Then you had MAGA Republican Congressmember Bacon. Here's what he had to say. Let's play it.
I just support transparency. I'm willing to vote on a bill. Should be a standalone bill. So I think let's vote on transparency, put everything out. I think if there's anything hidden, it's probably in the court system, but we should ask for it.
What do you make of the administration's handling of this? I mean, they're saying that all this is going to go out and come out and then backtracked on it.
Yeah, they misled people to think there was a lot more there.
Then you had MAGA Republican Congressmember Scott Perry. Here's what he had to say.
I just think it's important that the American people know what's occurred here.
The president wants to move on, though. He says it's time to move on.
I've been very clear on my opinion on this issue for a long time.
Okay. Are your constituents clamoring for this information?
Some are, yeah.
Then here you have MAGA Republican Congressmember Chip Roy and MAGA Republican Congressmember Ralph Norman. Let's listen to what they had to say. Play this clip.
I think the administration will put more stuff out in August. And like I said, if they don't, then I promise you there's going to be some more looking at this in the first week of September.
I mean, you'd have to have your head in the sand to say that this is going to go away. It's not. The public deserves it.
I assure you
that we'll be working together in a bipartisan manner to make certain that that every word is perfect and reflective of what our agreements were today.
Then you have MAGA Republican Nancy Mace. Now, Nancy Mace did try to protect Donald Trump in this House subcommittee. She tried to insert language that says only the credible information can be subpoenaed from the Department of Justice. But the Democrats pushed back on that and said, how would you determine what's credible or what's not credible? And then the MAGA Republicans tried to add some additional language like, okay, but we're going to go after information related to the Clintons and relating to what Biden's DOJ was doing. And the Democrats were like, sure, go for it. Get the info about the Clintons. If you want to put language about Biden, all good. We want full transparency. So here you have MAGA Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace, and she's like, look, we got to have transparency on this one. Here, play this clip.
And I'm going to amend the motion to protect the identity of the victims.
What do you think of the Speaker adjourning the House early to avoid this whole fight over Epstein?
This fight's coming no matter. I mean, this is here, and I've made it part of my life's mission to protect women and kids. And I think that, I'm ready to take this vote. I think we should take this vote and move forward, move this country forward. And the victims deserve justice and people deserve transparency is what they want.
And you have MAGA Republican Congressmember Warren Davidson. Here's what he's got to say.
I don't really see why we would do anything other than bring Pam Bondi in and say, to committee of jurisdiction and say, please explain.
I mean, would you want to hear her testify, Pam Bondi?
Yeah, I'm not on that committee, but, I really would like the committee of jurisdiction to bring her in and say, hey, you start this off, you've got binders, please explain. We are led to believe there are going to be some prosecutions. If we're going to prosecute, we assume there's going to be convictions. And I think that's really the disconnect.
All right. And now you have MAGA Republican Congressmember Thomas Massie, and he's been saying MAGA Mike is scared. Here, watch this.
What do you make of the Speaker's handling of this issue over the past couple of weeks?
I think he's scared. I think he's terrified.
Of what?
80% of MAGA, once these files released, they were promised this, they expected this, and it's not happening. But at the same time, he feels an allegiance to President Trump, who's gone against the MAGA base on this. So I think he's torn. I think the right thing to do would be just leave it up to the People's House. Let us vote on whether to release these files or not. And I hope he does not try to use some kind of parliamentary procedure to subvert or hide the release of these files.
Just to follow up on what you said earlier, of you don't think the public pressure is going to go away over the next 5 weeks. Do you see it lasting as long as 26 midterms? If that follows Republicans through to that, depending on how they vote.
This will be an issue that does follow Republicans through the midterms, and it will follow each individual Republican through the midterms. Mm-hmm. It will follow people into their primaries. Did you support transparency and justice, or did you come up here, get elected, and fall into the swamp? Did you decide that getting reelected was more important than exposing a pedophilia ring and a blackmail ring? If you did, then maybe you shouldn't be coming back. And that'll be a referendum in every primary and every general election in the United States in 2026, which is why I'm urging people to get onto my resolution to co-sponsor the release of these files before we go into August recess. There's only 6 legislative days between when I released this, introduced this bipartisan resolution and the August recess, but we need 7 legislative days to start collecting signatures and force the vote. As soon as we get back, there's going to be a vote on this, unless the Speaker subverts it.
And here's Massie again. Let's play it.
Well, it wouldn't really matter. Their Epstein bill resolution is non-binding, so it's kind of fake. The resolution that I have co-sponsored with Ro Khanna would actually bring up legislation that would be binding on the president.
Is your understanding that will ripen the day after lawmakers get back from August recess?
Yeah, unfortunately, we have 6 days and we needed 7 days for the discharge petition to ripen before we could bring this up before the August recess. So we'll have to bring it up after the August recess. But the good news is the Speaker has no interest in keeping us here 1 extra day. because this will ripen in an extra day.
Have you heard from the president?
I've not heard from the president.
Let me show you what went down. I had to give you all of that as background, right? So now go into this House Oversight Subcommittee. And you have Democratic Congress member Garcia, the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee right now. And then you have Democratic Congresswoman Lee. They planned this. They knew they had the votes. I showed you a lot of that video. They knew they had the MAGA Republican Congress members in the room who would vote for this. The hearing was on another matter. And it was right before MAGA Mike was able to send Congress into recess. So the Democrats pounced. They said, actually, we want to add this amendment to release the Epstein files. Let's subpoena the DOJ. And then Clay Higgins, who chairs this committee, he's like, oh, okay, let's go into recess. So you're going to watch that. Then they come out of recess and then they take a vote on it. By the way, you'll see that Lauren Boebert was just a no-show right there. They take a vote on it. It's obvious that the ayes, the yes, release it, issue the subpoena, beats the nays, beats the no votes. But then you'll see, I just wanted to spell it out for you so you know what you're watching here. Because, these maneuverings in Congress can be a little bit weird. So then Clay Higgins is like, the noes have it. And it was like, what are you talking about? The voice vote was clear that the ayes have it. The yes, release the files, subpoena the DOJ. He's like, it's no. And you'll see some Congresswoman Lee looking at him and going, it was yes. And then Congressmember Garcia is like, roll call. And then you'll see it was an 8-2 vote against Donald Trump, meaning the MAGA Republicans joined with the Democrats when they were put on the spot. So with that as background, watch what went down. You're going to love this. Here, play this clip.
Document into the record listing the members of this committee and their individual calls to release the Epstein files.
Shauna, without objection. The subcommittee stands in recess, subject to the call of the chair.
Point of order. Are we not going to take the vote?
We're in recess. That was a previous order.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, we need to take the vote from the motion.
We're in recess pursuant to the previous order, which passed without objection. So we're in recess, and we will move to those votes. So this is out of order conversation. I'm just being polite. We had the previous order that we moved without objection. Votes would be moved until after deliberation. Well, subject to call of the chair. I would hope it's today. We have plans.
Recess.
We have plans.
We have forever recess. Children will not.
So, when is the actual? When are we back in session for this subcommittee after votes?
That subject to the call of the chair, as I stated. So
we're going to do a permanent
reflective
recess.
of the previous order. So stand by. And now we will be calling up Ms. Lee's motion as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. No. In the opinion of the, pardon?
The ayes have it.
In the opinion of the chair, the no has it.
Recorded vote, sir.
Recorded vote is called for. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Gosar. Mr. Biggs. Ms. Mace. Aye. Ms. Mace votes aye. Mr. Perry. Mr. Perry votes aye. Ms. Boebert. Mr. Jack.
Aye.
Mr. Jack votes aye. Ms. Lee. Ms. Lee votes yes. Mr. Bell.
Aye.
Mr. Bell votes aye. Ms. Simon. Aye. Ms. Simon votes aye. Ms. Presley. Ms. Presley votes aye. Mr. Garcia.
Aye.
Mr. Garcia votes aye. Mr. Chairman.
No.
Mr. Chairman votes no.
Not recorded, I believe.
Mr. Biggs is not recorded. Mr. Biggs votes nay. Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the ayes are 8, the nays are 2.
Now here's Congresswoman Lee talking about what went down in her own words.
You've had a hell of a day, so thank you so much for being here. So a lot has happened today, and I just tried to outline it. The full oversight committee said is going ahead with the subpoena. What happens next?
Well, next, after Comer signs it, right? He said it. He has to sign it. He signed the one for Maxwell within 24 hours. So he says that we expect it. Then the DOJ has to release those files to the federal law enforcement ranking subcommittee, to the minority and majority, and we go from there. But right now, what we asked for were the unredacted, complete files. At the end of the day, if someone has participated in child sex trafficking, I don't care if they're a prince or a president or if they're anybody in between, they should be held accountable. They were just trying to make this a both sides thing to make up for the fact that they were being hypocrites, that they said that this is what they want. You saw, right? We read off all of the members of the subcommittee who called very publicly for these files to be released. We saw that they ran on this in the last election, from Trump on down to all of his folks. They all ran on this. So they're just trying to distract from the fact that they're being hypocrites, that they know that they're choosing to protect Donald Trump over the very victims that they keep giving lip service to, that they're choosing to protect Donald Trump over transparency for the American people that they're calling for. They're very based in all Americans of all different parties. And that's really what that was about.
Okay, now here is Lauren Boebert being a no-show. Play this clip.
Votes aye. Ms. Boebert. Mr. Jack.
Aye.
Mr. Jack votes aye.
By the way, here's what Senator Murkowski has to say about these files. Play this clip.
Speaker Mike Johnson is sending the House home, so they don't have to vote on it. So that sounds like you think they should just release everything.
Just be done with it. Be done with it. If in fact there's no there for the president, get it out there. Just get it out there and be done.
Does it give you any pause with the reporting tonight that his name, he was told his name is included in it? That doesn't mean that he did anything wrong, but do you think that is a factor in why they have been hesitant to put more information out there?
So hard to determine what may or may not have been a factor. But I don't think it's any secret. Certainly the president has not made it a secret that that years and years ago, he was a friend of Jeffrey Epstein, and that was a time prior. They had a falling out, and there has been no engagement since. But so if there's really nothing there, again, just put it out. Get this behind us, and again, what you're seeing happening now is the country is talking about this. Well, at the same time, the Congress has so much work that we need to be doing. We don't need to be caught up in the chatter about what is in, what is not in, but we can't get to it because of this. I view it as a political distraction, and I think if the administration wants to get beyond it, if President Trump wants to get beyond it, just get this stuff out there and let's move forward.
Now, MAGA Mike Johnson was none too pleased. Earlier in the day, MAGA Mike was claiming, why would we pass any resolutions here to urge the administration to do something they're already doing? The administration's already saying that they're going to release the files. No, they're not. What are you talking about? The administration's trying to cover up the Epstein files for Trump. MAGA Mike Johnson, you pathetic loser, you just got outmaneuvered by Democrats. Play this clip.
I will not allow the House to be drug into political gamesmanship. Not going to do it.
The promises that Republicans made to voters over Jeffrey Epstein. Why not more of a sense of urgency? Why not just hold a vote today?
There's no point in having a vote today because the administration is already doing everything within their power to release them. They've gone to the grand jury. They've requested the courts to unseal the documents so that they can be released. The president himself has said all credible evidence should be put out to the American people while protecting the innocent. That's where we stand as well. There's no point in passing a resolution to urge the administration to do something that they are already doing. And so that's why we're going to let that process play out. This is not out of fear in any way. What we're trying to do is maximize transparency and stand for the truth. Let me say this, very important. We want every single person who was involved in any way in the Epstein evils to be brought to swift justice. We want the full weight of the law to fall upon their head. And I will do everything within my power to make sure that is possible. That process is underway right now. and we'll see how it plays out.
Folks, there's some real cracks in this regime right now over the Epstein files. And then you have MAGA Mike Johnson, saying, we're not scared. We're not fearful of any of this. What are you talking about? We're totally cool. Here, play this clip.
They're concerned. I mean, obviously we've seen conservatives shut down the House floor routinely. You saw that you had to pull the rule because of fear of the Epstein votes.
No, we don't have any fear. No, hold on. No, Reese, no. There's no fear here. No, there's no fear. There's no fear. We're not going to allow the Democrats to use this as a political cudgel. Remember, they had 4 years. Hold on. The Biden administration held the Epstein files for 4 years. Not a single one of these Democrats or anyone in Congress made any peep about that at all. They could have brought a discharge petition at any point in the last 4 years. They chose not to. They waited until President Trump was elected. I think that's very suspect. And I will not allow the House to be drug into political gamesmanship. Not going to do it.
Okay there, MAGA Mike Johnson. Sure. So now what happens? So now we have a subpoena being issued to the Department of Justice, turn over the Epstein files. At the same time, we know from that new bombshell Wall Street Journal report that Donald Trump's name is all over the file. So redact the victim's name, turn over the files. So now what's the Department of Justice going to do? What's Bondi going to do? Is she not going to turn it over? Is she going to obstruct, which will make Donald Trump look extra guilty, especially now that we know his name is all over it? Another development as well that I want to mention is that the Epstein victim's lawyer was on MSNBC last night and said, that binder, the leather-bound binder for Epstein's 50th birthday, that Donald Trump sent that birthday card about, enigmas never age and let's keep our secrets always. We'll always share secrets together. Remember? The lawyer for the Epstein victims says that binder is with the estate. So all you have to do is subpoena the estate of Jeffrey Epstein, and then you can get that binder. So then Democratic Congressmember Ro Khanna heard that and said, okay, we're going to subpoena that. We're going to get that leather-bound binder, and we'll show the world, that was actually Donald Trump who wrote that letter, and we'll prove that as well, that he was lying. What you going to do now, MAGA Mike Johnson? And also, earlier in the day, Democrats outmaneuvered MAGA Republicans again, and they called for and got the subpoena to take the deposition of Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, how did Donald Trump try to deal with the Ghislaine Maxwell deposition by the House of Representatives? Well, that's why Donald Trump today is sending the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, and the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell. And Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer told the Wall Street Journal words to the effect of, we're excited to meet with the Trump administration and see what they have to say. Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer also told CNN, we're taking this one step at a time. So before we determine how she's going to participate in a deposition with the House of Representatives, we want to see how the meeting goes with the Department of Justice. Hint, hint, they are angling for a pardon, a commutation, a retrial, or something to that effect. But now, even though the Trump regime is clearly trying to, in my opinion, do some deal with Ghislaine to silence her in exchange for something, on the other hand, you now have the House of Representatives going right for the files that the Department of Justice has through another subpoena. So this is maximum pressure, and you got to give credit to Democratic Congress members here. All the way at the top, Leader Jeffries is the one running the show, but then you've got Democratic Congressmember Garcia, and you've got a whole bunch of Democratic Congresswoman Lee, and all these people, they figured out how to do it and put these Republicans on the spot. That's fighting back, in my opinion. We'll keep you posted every step of the way. Hit subscribe.
Yeah, it's getting pretty heated there with Trump, and more and more people are, I think what's going on is a lot of people are just getting sick and tired of this dragging out for so long, especially those on the right. They want to see an end to this shit. And Mike Johnson, he's tap dancing pretty damn close to obstruction of justice here. He better watch himself. I just don't see how the hell, he could sit here and impede things and hold things up, as this goes on. So, like I said, he better fucking watch it. And the fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene, I don't know what it is. Maybe she's smelling blood in the water or something like that, and she just wants to be outside of this thing to look like a hero. I don't know. But it sure as hell doesn't look like, she wants to be caught in the middle of this. She's got enough of her own, not conspiracy, but her own issues, basically, that she's got to contend with. And the controversy around her mixed in with her trying to, be loyal to Trump is going to be too much for her political career. But Trump, like I said, the distractions are not working. Too many people in MAGA are siding with Democrats on the truth getting out here. People want to know the truth. And when did this ever become about Trump and not about the victims? You see what I'm saying? This has to be about the victims here number one, above everything. What Trump did or did not do really is of no importance here until we get more evidence made public, I guess, like the lists and all that shit. But for him to sit here and make this a political issue by him being on TV and complaining, oh, this is a witch hunt, and oh, this is a Democrat plot, and he's making this all about politics, and this is really a crime he's trying to cover up. It's a crime. It's the same crime that got Jeffrey Epstein in trouble. It's the same crime that put Ghislaine Maxwell in prison. Okay? It's a crime, and it's a big crime because a lot of big names are involved in it. A lot of wealthy people. So there's a lot of incentive out there to keep this under the rug. But it's becoming too uncomfortable for MAGA to simply go along with it. It's because this is an issue they don't like. They don't like pedophilia. And none of these people in MAGA want to be considered as pro-pedophile by defending him. It's just too damn much. The last thing they want is Democrats accusing them of being pro-pedophile. And it looks that way right now with Trump and his name being in it. So I'm sure a lot more is yet to come. But I'm sure a lot of shit's going to happen. That's going to make Trump look even more guilty. I mean, how guilty do you have to look before people say, yeah, he's involved in something? How guilty do you have to look? It's pretty obvious that he's into this thing at some level that scares him, that if it gets out, it's going to get him in trouble. And this ain't propaganda talking here. This is common sense. There's already enough shit out there in public domain that puts those two guys together at a lot of things. This falling out that he said he had with Jeffrey Epstein, I think is hogwash. I think them two were always friends right up to the day Epstein died. Either they were, either by necessity or because one had so much shit on the other, they didn't dare, break up. So, when your partner's in crime, you can't always trust that the other person's going to keep their mouth shut. So, I think that there's a lot there that he doesn't want us to see, because it would be too difficult for him to explain it away, to make excuses around it. So instead of doing that, he tries to do these distractions. you know, Obama this, Obama that, Russia this, Russia that. Okay, the press is already, you know, they already know that's wasted material. These things he's accusing Obama of would have come out a long time ago if there was any truth to it. And I'm sure the Republicans would have made sure to investigate back then. But it's too late now. No one's going to buy anything that he accuses Obama of doing. What the thing that's on people's mind right now, and the most important thing, is this Epstein shit. These people, MAGA, or the Republicans, they want to know how deep this goes with Trump. Because they don't want their name attached to a pedophile's name. They don't want to go down in the history books as people who supported a sex criminal. Okay? And God, I mean, all I can think of is that, you know, his sons, Trump's sons and his kids, you know, they seem to be kind of awfully quiet. You know, I mean, they might say something, but remember how vocal they were when they were after Trump last year for, you know, other things. And his sons are coming out in their whatever, you know, internet or whatever, making statements. But right now, you haven't really heard much out of them. So I think that's kind of an interesting thing that, you know, the kids, his sons, you know, and other family members aren't out there standing at his side. And the optics of that is very, very interesting. But, you know, you can't force them to do anything. But yeah, this is going to get hairy until things are finally revealed. And Trump knows what it is that the public wants. So, and Pam Bondi, what can I say about her? She's neck deep in this now. Anything that happens to Trump, good or bad, is going to bring her down or keep her in office, or her in power rather. Her name is tied to his now. And so I don't envy anybody that's in the administration. Maybe a lot of these people are going to start resigning. You know, and if that happens, then you know everybody's thinking this is a sinking boat. So that's the next thing I expect to see happening before the end of the year. Some of these people are going to resign for whatever reason. Say, oh, I'm just too sick, or I want time with my family. They're just going to start dropping like flies around him. Because they don't want to be part of this fucking regime here that's really corrupt to the core. Can you imagine, though, being part of his administration after all this shit that's going on in the last 6 months? The kind of headache these people have to wake up to every fucking morning. How much do you think people are going to take of that? We've seen people resign positions for far less. So, and anyway, I as a personal thing, I saw that Hulk Hogan had passed away today. He was only 71 years old. I thought he was older than that. He looked older than that. But I guess all that time on steroids and stuff during the 80s, like a lot of those wrestlers were doing back then. Maybe that ages you somewhat, you know, I don't know. But, yeah, sadly, though, he ended his career last year on a controversial note by siding with Donald Trump. So, I can't say that was his better moment in life. But, yeah, it was kind of a shocker. I don't know the details of why he died or something, if it was a heart attack or some other thing. But, I was like, oh. So, yeah, it was kind of a shocker. I watched his wrestling matches when I was really small during the 70s, and then when he got big in the 80s, and yeah, I don't know. But yeah, he kind of pissed me off last year with his fucking supporting of Trump and all that. It was dumb. I mean, Trump couldn't find anybody that he couldn't, to say anything nice about him, any politician. So we had to pay people to come up there and do what he, like Hogan. I was thinking that's pretty rotten, But anyway, that's it for today. Talk to you guys later.